What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're finally back and jumping in with some Destiny 2 news. And we do have some pretty exciting stuff to talk about in this video. So Bungie give us information about Steam migration, dates for that, as well as cross-save and the launch of all of that stuff. And in this week at Bungie, they give us details about some pretty huge reveals with a kind of calendar of different reveals and things that they're going to talk about. And that does include a customization of armor and how that's going to work, how seasons will change in year 3, and a PvP reveal for Shadowkeep, so pretty exciting stuff. That does include an update for the state of the game, and then next week there are going to be some Solstice changes and a new hotfix. So yeah, we've got a few interesting things to talk about. Guys, if you enjoyed the video, a rating really helps me out, but otherwise let's get straight into it. Now, the first thing we need to talk about today is the state of the game update that Luke Smith mentioned last week. We've got a quick update on that. As we said, I've been doing some typing. Part 1 is going to be out early next week, and this part looks back at the last 6 months of Destiny. It is about 4,100 words, aka 8 single-spaced pages, and Part 2 is still under construction, but is comparable in size. The wall of text will see you soon. And so we're not going to be getting it this week by the looks of things, but early next week we'll get the first bit, and as Luke Smith said before, they're going to kind of talk about what they've learned with the annual pass, how the last year or so has gone, and then, also confirmed by Deej, the second part is going to be more about Shadowkeep and stuff that they're doing with the game, with some kind of justifications for why they're doing it and how it's all going to work. So we'll definitely get some better insights about Shadowkeep when we get all of this stuff. And so we'll keep you posted about it all on the channel, and be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to keep up to date. Next though, in this week at Bungie, they talk about the launch of Shadowkeep, New Light, cross-save, and the PC move. So between now and launch, we'll have plenty of time to talk about impending freedom to control how we look and fight, but right now, Bungie want to talk about ways that we'll be able to decide where we play. So at bungie.net/PC move, on August 20th, players will be invited to begin the process of linking PC player accounts for a smooth transition of your Guardians and all of your game purchases. And of course, Destiny 2 will actually arrive on Steam for the first time on October 1st, but players will be able to get set up, and then once that launch happens, you'll be ready to just jump in and continue playing the game with all of your stuff. So that's really cool. At least we have a date for the kind of beginning of that process, and we also have a trailer for the PC move, which we'll cover in a second. But for cross-save, they also have a new page for that, but the launch of cross-save is planned for August 21st. They say before that happens, check out the new information we're serving up about how it will work and what you'll be able to bring with you. But once again, you can bookmark that page and it is linked in the twab down below. But yeah, August 20th will be the point that you can sign up for Steam crossover, and August 21st is when cross-save functionality is actually supposed to go live. And so after that point, you'll be able to, take your Guardians and play them on other platforms. So pretty awesome stuff. Right here though, before we talk about the upcoming calendar of reveals for the game, let's briefly check out the new Steam trailer.
The hounds of war are loose.
Now though, Bungie talk about paving the road to launch for Shadowkeep. They say they've got a lot to tell us between now and launch, and this is more than a moon mission. We're kicking off a whole new year of play, with some interesting evolutions for the experience. Without assigning exact dates to each moment, here is a sequence of events in the order that they will occur, and these are going to broaden our understanding of what we'll be playing in October. So, number 1 will be the director's cut with Luke Smith, and this actually refers to that State of the Game blog post. That's going to be happening sometime early on next week. Number 2 will be an armor customization preview livestream, and they give us more details about that one because that's happening very shortly, but we will be getting more Shadowkeep details at Gamescom, then the launch of cross-save, followed by information about how seasons will change in D2 Year 3, and then a PvP reveal for Shadowkeep, so I know that's going to be a pretty big one for a lot of players. And the good news is that there is, something significant enough to actually have a dedicated reveal for, so that should be pretty exciting, and it's followed by an invitation to the Crucible at PAX this year. And they've said that the rest will be packed into the last mile during September. This isn't the full list of everything that they're planning to talk about. So pretty interesting stuff, and for that armor reveal that we're going to get next week, they say many of you have asked us to elaborate on what we've referred to as Armor 2.0, and next week we'll do just that. So they're going to be doing it live. There will be an armor customization preview livestream, a building a better monster killing machine, but this will take place on August 14th, 2019 at 10 AM Pacific. So that's next Wednesday at the daily reset time, and you can see it on twitch.tv/Bungie, as well as on their YouTube and Mixer accounts. They give us a cool kind of preview right here. We can see a bunch of new icons for mods and things that we'll see in the game. They say they'll apply mods, artifacts, and ornaments to build their own version of the perfect monster killing machine, and then we'll test those builds in a new sandbox. So stay tuned for that, we'll cover it all on the channel. Next Wednesday should be pretty exciting. And following that, of course, we'll have even more reveals throughout the summer. So let us know your thoughts down below. I know we haven't quite got to the juicy stuff just yet, or at least it's been a little while since the initial announcement, and we are still waiting, but at least they've given us a kind of preview of when we'll get that info, and next week really the ball is going to start rolling, so let us know your thoughts about it down below. Next though, they give us a postcard for the European aerial zone, and they say one of the mission parameters is to defeat 100 mini-bosses, and some of you have expressed that this is a few too many boss fights, and upon further analysis, we have agreed, so the total expectation is being revised down from 100 to 50, and the change goes live next week. If you've been struggling to hit this milestone, help is on the way, but if you've already hit it, please go easy on your fellow Guardians who pleaded for mercy. So next week that is going to be changed. If it's something you're still working on right now, obviously it's going to be quite a bit easier. The requirement is being cut in half. I know there'll be some mixed opinions about this because some folks, of course, have already grinded out multiple sets. So as always, let us know your thoughts about it down below. Of course though, it will come with a hotfix, and that'll be next Tuesday on August 13th. So there's going to be some background maintenance on Monday with no expected downtime, but then on Tuesday, D2 will be brought offline briefly before the weekly reset, and then at 10 AM PDT, which is 6 PM in the UK, hotfix 2.5.2.1 will begin rolling out across all platforms and regions. But of course the big one is that they're scaling down the 100 mini-bosses defeated to requiring only 50 mini-bosses, and completing the final boss round will contribute an additional 5 points off progress. The hotfix will also fix the problem where Prismatic Inferno and Wolves Unleashed emblems are not being recognized in collections, but then separate to that, they're going to be retiring the Refer a Friend program, so that'll no longer be available after the launch of Cross-Save on August 21st. Until then, if you want to complete it, you still have time. So that's the bulk of the stuff that we have in this week at Bungie, guys, and as always, I'll link that blog post down below. Now, let's round up a few more things to do with the game. First up, over on Reddit, players did point out that you could potentially stash a bunch of Glimmer, and you kind of have to think of it as a savings account in a way. But basically, if you get the other side Sparrow from collections, if you already own it, it'll cost you 7,500 Glimmer and 5 legendary shards, but when you dismantle it, you'll get 5,000 Glimmer and the 5 shards back. And so it isn't a way to actually make Glimmer, it's essentially a way that you could save more than 100,000 Glimmer. Because if, for example, right now, you could buy 10 of those from the collection and put them in the vault, then if you build your Glimmer stash up to 100k, you'd essentially have the 100k Glimmer, but then another 50,000 Glimmer available for breaking the Sparrows down. So it's something to think about. We'll possibly be spending quite a bit of Glimmer in the game. Of course, there is still the option of using the spider instead, doing kind of material exchanges and things like that, but this is a backup way which doesn't cost any materials, and once you buy a bunch and re-earn your base Glimmer, yeah, you kind of have to think of it as an investment you can make now to be a savings account for when Shadowkeep drops. Let us know your thoughts about it. Of course, you can obtain Glimmer if you're playing the game quite a bit, so it really depends on you as a player and whether you think that this is worthwhile. Next though, Hulu Mulu, as well as Lidicon on Reddit, did post some EAZ chest maps. It's just a quick shout to these because they're pretty useful if there's a chest that you can't find, or if you just want to kind of familiarize yourself with all the locations. So you can see the maps on screen, and I'll link the Reddit thread down below if you want to check them out. There's been a little bit more conversation this week about the cat statue inside of the aerial zone map. It's kind of mixed at this point because there are players who are convinced that, it's not going to lead to anything. It's kind of an Easter egg, and Bungie have hidden Easter eggs in the game before, in areas that players can glitch into. But then of course there are other folks who think that maybe this is going to be a quest, or at some point you'll be able to present a gift to the cat or something. So once again, I'd love to hear your thoughts about it down below. I think it's possible that it could do something later on in the Solstice event. Once again, there is still a classified Solstice key, so they are possibly linked. I think something else is going to happen with Solstice that we haven't seen yet, but whether it involves the cat statue isn't entirely clear. Now though, for some points of feedback, there was a pretty interesting one here, where Brush77 on the Bungie forum said that Bungie should make mods removable from pieces of gear. And it totally does make sense, doesn't it? Instead of having a mod stuck in a slot that you either have to replace with another mod and lose it, or have to dismantle a piece of gear, it would be nice just to have the option to decouple a mod and put it back in your inventory. And DMG said that the team is aware of this feedback, and players desire a way to retain mods that have been applied to weapons. They've also made sure to highlight negative feedback surrounding time investment to acquire specific mods, and he says we'll let you know when we have more info. But the interesting thing, of course, is that we are getting this new mod system, or Armor 2.0 more specifically, but that includes a whole bunch of mods. So on the piece of gear, we'll be able to start multiple mods in, but especially with a system like that, I would anticipate that we'd be able to actually remove a mod and replace it with something else without completely losing it. So it's interesting. Maybe it's something that Bungie aren't ready to kind of talk about, and that's why they didn't give that response. But what do you guys think? I would definitely hope that we'll be able to take mods off of a piece of gear to put onto another one, but it looks like we will have to wait for a little bit more clarification. Nonetheless, it is feedback that Bungie are aware of. They've also continued to take feedback about making forges from Black Armory launchable from the director, and DMG said that the change is a bit more technical than most would expect. Of course, it involves UI, test, and changes to matchmaking. They said if this is something that more players want to see and it's still relevant, then keep the feedback coming, as it does help Bungie move things up and down the priority list of what they're going to do next. As we know though, of course the focus is totally on delivering Shadowkeep and making that work, especially with the delay. Bungie do have a lot of stuff going on, but there are a lot of things that we don't really know about still. So as always guys, let us know your thoughts on the things that we've covered in this video. But if you have enjoyed this one, a like rating really helps me out. The support from you guys has been absolutely insane. Coming up on 440k subs on the channel as well, which is pretty exciting stuff. Maybe with Shadowkeep and all of that, we can push for that 500,000, man. That would be incredible. And I 100% have you guys to thank for it. So thank you as always for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed this video, but for now, whatever you get up to, I hope you have an awesome day.